So I was very late to the party when it came to American Horror Story, and once I was in, I was hooked. And finally, I found a tier list with all 12 seasons because it took a while for the latest one to appear on a tier chart. But it's here, and let's get started. So here I have the list, the tier. I did just change the top one, but everything else was already pre-made. Um, S tier is going to be truly a horror story. A would be wouldn't say no to a rewatch. B, I see the vision. So, I see what they're going for, but it's pretty mid. Um, and then C would be not the worst. And D, Ryan Murphy, please stop. Ryan Murphy is the one of the writers for American Horror Story. So we're just telling him to stop. It's not a good season. So I'm gonna do this a little bit differently. I'm going instead of doing like season 1 here, season 2 here, season 3 here and so on, I have my tier list to the side, or I have my list of best to worst, or sorry, worst to best, and I'm going to work my way up starting with the worst season. All right, so let's get started. Um the worst season for me. First of all, I'm only going to do American Horror Story, not stories. That's a whole different show. Very good, by the way. Little stories. They're not like a whole season long. Each episode is a different story. Very good show as well. But I'm only gonna do the original AHS. So starting at number 12 is going to be season 12, which is going to be Delicate, and that's where I'm gonna put Ryan Murphy. Please stop. Season 12 centers around an actress played by Emma Stone. Her name is Anna Victoria Alcott as she tries to get pregnant after multiple rounds of IVF. But Anna suspects that someone is trying to prevent her from having a family. This is the one that stars like Kim Kardashian, Emma Roberts. There's kind of like a cult thing going on, um, alien type babies, stuff like that. To me, it didn't work for me. It was a chore to get through. So I didn't like that one at all. And I do hope that the next one is much better. Start going up from the bottom. It's been a while since I've done a list. Is going to be season 5, Hotel. And that is also going to go into Ryan Murphy. Please stop. Now, Hotel is the one that stars Lady Gaga. Um, I think that's pretty much the main actress in there. First of all, not a fan of her work, so automatically that was a no for me. um, so it centers around New York City. It takes place in the 1980s, which I'm sorry, that is not the right one. Sorry, I did the wrong one. Season 5, it's not the 1980s. It is subtitled Hotel, and it centers around the mysterious Hotel Cortez in Los Angeles. The scene of disturbing and paranormal events overseen by its enigmatic staff. I mean, see, I don't like Lady Gaga as an actress. That's just me, though. I was bored. It was such a chore to get through that. There's vampires named by she's called the Countess, which is played by Lady Gaga. She's the owner, while the detective John Lowe, played by Wes Bentley, investigates a series of gruesome murders that lead him to the hotel, uncovering dark secrets and supernatural inhabitants, including the hotel's vengeful past lover. And it's just a lot going on. It wasn't entertaining at all. I was bored. I was tired. I wanted it to end. Not a fan. Going up to the tier, number 10 is going to be season 3. And this one is not the worst, but it's not something I would necessarily watch again. And I love witchy stuff. I love like witchcraft stuff. And I don't practice that, but I do love stuff that centers around it. Um, so, of course, it is titled Coven, and this is set in 2013 in New Orleans and follows a coven of witches descended from Salem, and they fight people that are like going against them. And oh man, the soundtrack was just slightly annoying, to say the least. Once again, Emma Stone is in this, or not Emma Stone, sorry. What's her name? Emma Roberts. There's Jessica Lange and Angela Bassett, Kathy Bates. So it's got a good cast going, but it wasn't something, like I said, it wasn't the worst, but it could have been a little bit better for me. Coming in at number 9 is going to be season 1, The Murder House. And I'm going to put that in I See the Vision. Um, of course, I feel like everyone has seen at least season 1, The Murder House. That is the one that's dealing with the Harmon family, who, after dealing with a miscarriage and infidelity, they moved to a restored mansion in LA, unaware that the ghost of its former residents and their victims haunt the house. This does have a twist, and it is pretty good, but it just didn't catch me like I wanted it to. It's not a good it's a good season to start the series, but I don't know. I didn't like it as much as much as other people did. But I see the vision that they were going for, but it just wasn't that captivating for me. All right. Is this number 8? Yes. Number 8 is going to be season 8, which is Apocalypse. And this one is going to go on also I See the Vision. Um this one is a whole lot going on. This one is the one that features the witches from Coven from New Orleans, as they battle the Antichrist and the attempt to prevent the world from ending. It's presented by a crossover between Murder House, Coven, and Hotel. They try to merge 3 seasons into this, 3 past seasons, and it was a lot going on. If you know, this season, it's got um witches, it's got demons, it's got devils, the Antichrist. There's some returning guests or returning cast from, of course, Murder House and Coven and Hotel, but it's just so much going on, and it was entertaining. That's why it's ranked at B. And I saw the vision they were going for, but it's not something that I would rewatch. Coming in at number 7 is going to be season 7, Cult. And that one is Wouldn't Say No to a Rewatch. Of course, this is the one that stars Evan Peters, and it's a fictional suburb of Brooklyn Heights, Michigan, during the year of 2017, which is the election of Trump versus Hillary. And it's it's deep. If you know this season, you know how deep it goes. You know that it's very gory as well, very, very gory. It also stars one of my favorite actresses. Well, she's in a lot of these seasons. I forgot her name, the main chick. Um, so this basically, oh my gosh, what is going on? My computer's freaking out. So you have Evan Peters, who has blue hair, looks very interesting. And then he kind of has a cult. He's a cult leader, and he's terrorizing the residents of the aftermath of Donald Trump winning the 2016 election. and there's people that he doesn't agree with. He's basically like the very much um oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the Democrat Republican. He freaks out on the Democrats and he's like, yeah, Trump won, all that stuff. It's very entertaining. It really is. And it's very gory, like I said. So it is definitely something that I would rewatch. Coming in at number 6. Whoa, whoa, I don't know what that was. Coming in at number 6 is going to be season 11, NYC. And this one, I would say no. I wouldn't say no to a rewatch. This is the one that centers around and New York, obviously. Takes place in the 1980s, and it focuses on a string of killings involving gay men and the emergence of a new virus. So it's basically the one where you get an STD from having gay sex, and there's a killer that's killing the gay men, only gay men, and he like meets them at a park in Central Park, and he goes ham on them, and he just wants to kill them. I believe this is they do mention the Night Stalker and all that, since it does take place in the 80s. And I believe this was almost close to a true story because of the disease that was impacting the LGBTQ community. But yes, very interesting season, and I wouldn't say no to a rewatch. All right, we're going to our top 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, our top 5. My top 5. Number 5 is going to be that was our top 5. Wait a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. Holy butthole. I skipped one. I'm sorry guys. I'm doing this off the top of my head kind of. So before Cult and NYC, I didn't put Roanoke in there. This is actually going to fall in my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is going to be on my 7th. So 7th ranking out of 12 is going to be Roanoke. I'm sorry, guys. Roanoke. This is the one that is very interesting. It's very different than the rest of the series because it follows the supernatural experiences around a haunted house and its surroundings in North Carolina. It's doing it like a ghost show type, like a documentary, and they're interviewing the real people that were in that house, and they're retelling the story on camera, and the reenactments are happening as they're telling the story. So there's a lot going on in that. Actually, all this has a lot going on. So they decided to do something different with it, and I wasn't mad about it. I liked it. It does have returning cast as always. It was taking place in the 18th century, the original, and then the people that move into the house is when they tell their story of what happened. But yeah, very interesting. Roanoke is definitely something different. Okay, so after Roanoke, then it's Cult right here, and then it's NYC. Okay, so NYC is my number 5. I'm sorry. Number 4 is going to be season 10, which is double feature. And this one, I wouldn't say no to a rewatch because this one, as it's titled, double feature, it centers 2 different stories. Now, the first story is much better than the second one, in my opinion. So the first story is called Red Tide, and it focuses on a family in Provincetown, Massachusetts, who meet the mysterious true inhabitants of that town, who are vampires. So that's when the main character gets involved in that, and I don't want to spoil the rest, but it's it's kind of I kind of like how they did that. They split the season into two different stories. The second story is called Death Valley, and it's a group of camping students become involved in a conspiracy with extraterrestrials, aliens. The story is told in both black and white and color, and it focuses on a deal made by by President Eisenhower with a secret alien force in the 1950s. So a lot of these episodes are in black and white, and it takes place in the 50s, and then it switches over back to present time. This one is very weird. It's got like alien babies. It's got people getting probed. The aliens look really cool. Um, oh, wow. But Riptide, very, very good. I much prefer the first story. All right. Number 3 is going to be season 2, Asylum, and that is truly a horror story. So that is the first one that is up there. Um, Asylum is really what hooked me onto this series. Because if it was just Murder House season 1, I would not probably not have watched the rest. Um, but it is called Asylum, and it takes place in 1964, and it follows the stories of the staff and inmates who occupied the fictional mental institution Briarcliff Manor, and it intercuts with events in the past and the present. So there you do have, again, backstory and present time. Very good. Very good. There's nuns in there, nuns that work in the mental facility. Um, who there's one that is so evil, such an evil nun. She is such a good actress. And then there's Pepper, the famous Pepper. If you know, you know. So obviously, if you're watching this, you've seen the shows. Um, so good. It is so good. And there's this like evil doctor that's making them sick, and oh, I love it. All right, number 2 is going to be season 4, Freak Show. If you know, you know, I love clowns and circus, and um, even the movie Freaks. This is based off the movie Freaks, if you've seen that. It is set in 1952 in Jupiter, Florida, telling the story of one of the last remaining freak shows in the US and their struggle for survival. So they're not getting any customers or whatever they call them into their um, circus, and so they have, you know, the bearded lady, they have the short girl, the little girl, um the world's smallest woman, sorry, that's what she's called. um yeah, they have a lot. There's a lot going on. They have the clown, what's his name, Giggles or something. I haven't seen this in so long. The freaky clown, I'm sure everyone knows the freaky clown. um Twisty. There he is. Twisty the clown. Um, yeah. This, you never get bored. Yeah, you have the very tall woman in this. I'm now seeing it. Um, you don't get bored. Every episode is so good. You get the spoiled rich guy who wants to just like have his way with um the twins. The two conjoined twins with the two heads played by the same actress. That was so good. She killed it in that role. But yeah, that is going to be my number 2 on the S tier. And my favorite is going to be 1984. Truly a horror story, season 9. If you know me, you know I love stories taking place in the 80s, and this takes place in 1984 outside of LA, and it focuses on the staff of a summer camp reopening after a massacre 14 years prior. Similar kind of to Friday the 13th, it does take place in a summer camp, like it says. Um, so it's kind of like, who is killing these people? Because this happened years ago, and suddenly the killings start happening again, and they're trying to figure out what's going on, who's doing it. Um, Very good, very good. This one centers around the Night Stalker as well, because it does take place in the 80s. Ooh. Okay, yeah, so it is influenced by Halloween 1978 and Friday the 13th. Yep. So this is so good. I've actually been thinking of rewatching this season. So good. If you guys haven't seen, if you watch any season, you don't have to watch all of them to get what's going on. Each season is a different story. Watch season 9, 1984, and you'll see what I'm talking about. If you love 80s, the 80s, 1984, and NYC takes place in the 80s. But yeah, there's my tier. There's my list. I'm sorry about the little mix up with one of the seasons, but here it is. These are my top three. And then, yeah, these two are trash. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what's your favorite season down below. I know this is going to reach a very niche audience, and that's okay. We can love this show together, and I can't wait for the new season. All right, you guys. I appreciate you guys stopping by. Happy New Year. I wish I wish you best wishes in 2025, and I'll see you guys next year. Yes, I'm that person. Bye.